Good evening. Welcome to the Allen Performing Arts Center. Before you on stage is the Allen High School Symphonic Band 1 under the direction of Mr. Tony Daniels. Before we continue, I do want to thank everybody for coming this evening. This is concert 1 of 3. We have our gigantuan mega middle school honor band coming that's going to be here tomorrow, along with the Allen High School Wind Ensemble, LFC Wind Ensemble, and Allen Symphony Orchestra. And then on Thursday we have our AHS concert band, AHS Symphonic Band 2, as well as our AHS Wind Symphony. It's going to be a great evening. Hope you can join. If you can join us for any more evenings, we would love to have you. You're always welcome. Without further ado, please give a round of applause to Mr. Tony Daniels and the AHS Symphonic Band number 1.
It's already on. That's great. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting the group. I'm extremely, give me a second. We're extremely proud of this group. We managed to tackle all of this music that you see in front of you in I think probably less than a month, while marching band is going on, while AP tests and everything else is going on. So they came early, we worked, and a lot of it is a testament to them and also the parents who are out in the audience who support them. So thank you very much for that. So let's hear it one more time for them, please. We have a very special guest. In fact, I already put it on Facebook and did a selfie with this gentleman. It's amazing that these students actually have him in front of them. And I'm sure that it'll hit them maybe 5 or 10 years from now, just how fortunate, blessed they are to have a program such as this magnitude, bring out guests like a Dr. Kelly, so forth. So first off, we need to thank Dr. Obato for his vision and for bringing these guests out. So let's hear it for him, please. Come on out. Thank you. And as I sweat all over the podium, the piece that you heard before you, I'm not gonna explain what it is. I do know one thing, that he had called it volcano at one point, but we're going to bring out Dr. Kelly and then let him explain not just the piece that we played, but also the other two pieces that we're going to play in front of you. And you have a special treat. He's going to conduct San Antonio Dances, which is a special piece by him. So without further ado, everyone, let's welcome Dr. Frank Kelly.
Thank you all. I'm just blown away by how well they just played Vesuvius. Just bravo, guys. That was just terrific. Yeah, wonderful. That piece was written some time ago. I wrote it for the National Honor Band. At the time, there was a group called the National Honor Band of Bands of America. And we premiered it over in Japan. Well, actually, we premiered it in Indiana, then we took it on tour to Japan and did performances over there in Japan. It's been around a while, and it was inspired by just the dark energy of a volcano. And I first called it, in fact, when we premiered it, it was called Volcano. And then my publisher called me and says, Frank, you can't call it Volcano. There's a terrible movie that just came out called Volcano. This is back in the 90s. And so I said, okay, I know what I want to call it, a specific volcano, Vesuvius, which is that wonderful, it's still there, beautiful volcano there in the middle of Italy. And I have Italian heritage, so why not? So Vesuvius became the title, and it's just, and as the title suggests, it just has this dark, driving energy, and all the way to the very end where it sort of erupts. This next work, San Antonio Dances, I wrote as a tribute to that great city. I actually grew up in New Orleans, and then when I was a teenager, we moved right down the highway here. I lived in Richardson, Texas. For much of my teenager, I played in the Berkner High School band, so I'm kind of a Texan. Even though I've been in California for 30 years, I still consider myself a Texan. And my first teaching job was at Trinity University, right out of college from Michigan. I went to San Antonio and taught there. So it's been 30 years since I was there, but the city still holds a very dear place in my heart. And so I wanted to write a piece that paid tribute to this wonderful city, and it's just a cultural diversity and incredible mix of cultures that you see you hear in the music, and you see in the culture, in the architecture, in the food, everything about that city. And so I tried to capture that in these two movements. You'll hear two movements. Alamo Gardens. You've all been there, and at the Alamo, the gardens are there, and those wonderful oak trees, those Texas live oaks, and with those winding limbs. I tried to capture that in the first movement, and so you'll hear the main melody in the clarinets has this sort of winding quality to it. The that captured those beautiful limbs of the oak trees. And then the second movement, just picture yourself on one of those cafe restaurants. You know, the air is cooling, the sun's setting, more and more people come up, and just gradually, what starts out kind of calm just becomes one big giant fiesta. And that's sort of what I tried to do in that second movement. It starts out calmly and just builds and builds and builds to this kind of big party fiesta. So this is San Antonio Dance. It's 2 movements. Thank you all very much. And again, thank you all for coming out. Thank you, Phil Obato, for inviting me to this wonderful school. And everyone, thanks again, and be safe driving home. Thank you all very much.